every doctor I saw in the hospital after my open heart surgery was baffled about this fact coming up. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name is Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So before we get into what baffled my doctors after my open heart surgery, and keep in mind, I saw resident doctors, cardiologists, as well as a cardiologist that did my open heart surgery. This was the common problem I had with all of them. They were completely baffled by this upcoming issue. But before I get into that, I just want to talk about this upcoming challenge we're starting today. So I'm doing this challenge of 10 squats every 45 minutes for an 8.5 hour window. So it's going to be really easy to do. Almost anyone can do this, almost really no matter what type of job they have, whether they're on a factory line or they're sitting or they're out doing anything. It's not designed to replace a workout. It's just designed to help to lower your blood sugar and fasting insulin. So you're going to use up some of that glucose in your bloodstream, and that's going to allow your insulin to lower. So this is something that's been proven to work through a study, better than a 30-minute walk every day. So the nice thing about this is it's something anyone can do, and you just have to put that 8.5 hours aside throughout the day to do it. And if you want to be overzealous, you can do more. So this is a challenge I'm doing. And lots of times on my YouTube channel, lots of people who watch my channel support my challenges. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. Give it a shot. I'm going to start a membership for my YouTube channel so people can follow along and support the channel simultaneously. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's more important that you just do the challenge. So if you're interested in just joining along, 10 squats is a great place to start. I did mine right before the workout. I have a little glow, not because of the squats really that I did right before this video, but because I don't have my air conditioning on and it's kind of warm in here. It's a little more humid than warm, but nonetheless, to the topic at hand. When I was in the hospital, I had an open heart surgery, and every doctor was baffled because they came to me and said, "How are you feeling now?" And I would say, "I feel fine." And they would say, "Well, how did you feel compared to before your open heart surgery?" And I just had a doctor ask me this question last week. And I said, I didn't feel any different. And they would look at me. And this would be the beginning of a circular conversation that each of these doctors just couldn't wrap their minds around, because I was being proactive when I got my angiogram done. Because when I had my heart attack and then eventually went carnivore after my heart attack, I lost 165 pounds doing that, and most of my health issues have corrected. I still have high fasting insulin, and that's what's keeping me from losing my last maybe 80 pounds or so. So it's time to tweak what I'm doing, and I've done lots of different exercise routines, but this is something that's going to help regulate my blood sugar throughout the day. I work out, that's great, but I have a sedentary lifestyle. So that workout really just balances out a sedentary lifestyle. So this is one of the last side effects I have that's dealing with the last couple health issues that I have, one of which is heart disease. Once that fasting insulin gets under control, everything's going to start getting better in regards to my heart disease. So when all these doctors were baffled when I felt good before and after my open heart surgery, where I had, I think it was 100% blockage in one artery and like a 96% in another major artery. Both were major arteries actually. And they thought I would be presenting with major symptoms. Now, I'm pretty in tune with myself that way. I wasn't presenting with any symptoms. In fact, I was riding my bicycle to work every day. Well, I work about 6 days a week, and I was riding my bicycle to work every day. And on the way back, I have 3 hills to go up. And in that time frame from the beginning of the spring till I had my open heart surgery was about a month. And in that time frame, I couldn't make it up any of the 3 hills when I first started, and I had to take a 5-minute break between the second and third hill because the one hill went up and then you had to kind of move over about 40 feet to go up to the next hill. And it was really a difficult hill because I was starting that hill with no momentum. But overall, it was an 11-minute bike ride home from work, 7-minute bike ride there because it was a lot of downhill, and 11-minute bike ride back home. The reason why I had it shaved down to 11 minutes is by the end of that month, I was able to ride up 2 of those 3 hills, and the third hill, without taking a break, I could ride about a quarter to a third of the way up. And I remember thinking, I'm going to have this hill done by the end of the month. And that was when I went for my angiogram, and they found out I had these serious blockages in my arteries. So I was actually making gains in my cardiovascular system while I was doing all this exercise. Fortunately, it wasn't intense, long exercise, but I was doing that about once or twice a day. So I was feeling good going into that surgery. And when all the doctors were asking how I felt before and after the surgery, and I was saying I felt exactly the same, they were baffled. And this was the same basic conversation I had with each of these doctors. I said, well, I felt the same going in. I didn't have any symptoms. And they said, what do you mean you didn't have any symptoms going into your angiogram? And I said, well, I didn't have any symptoms. I had a heart attack before. I know what my symptoms felt like. I had zero symptoms going into this. I was just being proactive. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, the doctors, when I had my first couple stents put in, they said these stents will last about 8 to 10 years. And they said you could get longer out of them, but on average, 8 to 10 years is pretty normal. So by the time I got to the 7-year mark, I was getting my cardiologist to look into how my arteries are doing. The first cardiologist wouldn't send me for an angiogram. She sent me for a CT scan, which is pretty stupid because apparently, from what one of the other cardiologists said, you can't see what's going on inside of a stent when there's a CT scan. You need an angiogram. So when I went for the angiogram, I didn't get that till this year, which was almost at year 9. They looked and said, well, you've got like these serious blockages in your arteries. They couldn't understand that I was being proactive. They thought, and they refused to accept until I finally got it through to them, that I was symptom-free. I was just being proactive because unfortunately our healthcare isn't set up to be proactive. It's mainly set up to be reactive. And whether doctors are just numb or I don't know, maybe they just like the kickbacks from the insurance companies or the pharmaceutical companies, I don't know. But whatever the reason, they just don't push to be proactive. Most of them don't. There are some good doctors out there that do choose that, but the vast majority just kind of go along with it and they'd rather put you on a medication than have you make lifestyle changes. So I've made a lot of lifestyle changes after my heart attack, but not early on enough. I waited, my heart attack was in 2015 and I waited till 2021 before I got strict with carnivore. And I mean without a lick, taste, or bite of anything off a carnivore diet. But what happened was there was a lot of years in there where I was causing a lot of damage because I was having a lot of junk food. I was doing carnivore intermittently with a horrible diet. So when I was seeing all these cardiologists, after my surgery, you see different cardiologists, usually 2 a day. You see one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and they come and check on you, and it's usually different doctors. And I went through about 6 of them, and I had this exact conversation with all of them about how they didn't understand why I felt the same after my surgery as before. When I explained to them I was being proactive, they would hear me say that, and I said I just wanted to get an angiogram to see how my arteries were doing. They said, yeah, but like why? And I said, because I was being proactive, because I was told this information by the original cardiologist that put the stents in my heart. And they were like, okay, but you didn't have any symptoms? And I was like, no, I didn't have any symptoms. I'm telling you, I was just being proactive. I had 0 symptoms before my angiogram and my open heart surgery. And they just became circular. They were like, so you must have had some symptoms. And I said, I had no symptoms. I don't know if it's because they just assumed I wouldn't have a cardiologist that would let me push for that with no symptoms. Maybe it's an expensive test. I don't know what the reason could be. But regardless, none of these doctors could accept it until probably about a 3 or 4 minute conversation. So after I went through those 6 doctors in the hospital, I started seeing the medical team in this hospital. This hospital is about a 40-minute drive from where I live. And when I went to this hospital for my follow-up appointments a month after my surgery, I had this exact conversation with another 2 cardiologists. And it was part of a team of cardiologists who take care of most of those patients. And this first doctor just couldn't grasp that I had no symptoms. He eventually did, but it took about a 5-minute conversation to have him understand I was being proactive because I was told I had an 8 to 10 year window. And here we are, year 9, and this is where I am now. So I was kind of in that average. So for anyone out there who just wants to be difficult about what a carnivore diet did, and of course I went and had open heart surgery because I was on a carnivore diet, I made it just as long as the average person. Even though for the last few years I was doing a carnivore diet, even though I lost 165 pounds in those years on a carnivore diet, even though I got rid of most of my health problems on that carnivore diet. We're learning more and more now when you follow certain doctors in the carnivore space, how insulin, fasting insulin, chronically high fasting insulin is causing heart disease. It's one of the root causes of heart disease. And that's a bigger issue than an isolated person who's got good health but high cholesterol. I remember my family doctor back in 2012 was the first doctor to tell me cholesterol's not the demon we thought it was. He was a younger doctor. He was about my age. He looked like he was in his mid-30s. And he said, we're not too worried about cholesterol anymore. So I found this fascinating. I had this same conversation with every single doctor and cardiologist since my open heart surgery. They just had a rough time accepting that I was being proactive. Anyway, I'm sure everyone out there has a story about how their doctor is or isn't proactive with their health. And when you find a doctor who wants to be proactive and is staying current and modern and looking forward to the direction science is starting to go in, that's when you know you got a great doctor. You don't want to have a doctor that is just a pill pusher, right? You want to have a doctor who's going to listen to you. Like when you say, I want to get an angiogram, as an example, they go, okay, let's go for that. And they do that. Even when I did get my angiogram, I had to kind of push for it with this new cardiologist that I had, but I still got one eventually. Before I go, I just want to remind you about this challenge. It's starting today, July 1st, and it's going to be a new monthly challenge every month based on so many squats for a certain amount of time each day. And we're either eventually going to start doing more difficult squats or more squats. So it's more of a challenge month after month. Not enough to make it a workout, but enough to make it a slight challenge for your body so that your body doesn't get too used to it. So we're really going to be tweaking it month after month. We're not going to be adding a lot to it. So this is going to be a very manageable challenge. Let me know if you're going to follow along. Thanks a lot and take care.